Go. Call this meeting to order. We'll determine that there's a quorum present. Commissioner Wardlaw, Commissioner Vasquez, Commissioner Nettleton, Commissioner Flores, and myself. We have a quorum. If y'all will please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Commissioner Vasquez, if you'll lead us in both pledges, please.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
We will. We should have handed out sheets for that second one. We'll get it. Okay. We have one item for discussion and action, which is discussion and possible action on the Second International Bridge. I would like, at this point, to make one motion to try to eliminate something from the routes that we have right now. We had a route that was presented to us by the city of Del Rio, and then they had a meeting at the Civic Center to go over that route. Bottom line is, the second bridge, left the second bridge, came to Las Brisas, went down Las Brisas, turned at Las Brisas, and then came out more or less around Agua Vista, or not more or less, right in front of Agua Vista, the intersection. So
I'll make a motion to not use that route or not recommend the use of that route. It comes out in front of Rancho Agua Vista.
do I have a second? Second. Have a motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Wardlaw. All those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Sir? It was, we can put it up on the map. No, we'll put it up. We'll put it up on the map. I have a motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Wardlaw, and if he will put it up on the map, on the screen, I'm sorry. Maybe. Make it. Carlos, will you be able to put it up on their screens also? You'll get it right now. The one that the city, okay, just a minute. The one that the city presented, ready? The one that the city presented to us on that meeting was here, comes up Las Brisas, comes across, right here's where Agua Vista's at. The intersection right here was an issue. The line, we had a meeting 2 weeks ago. We had people come and speak that this line right here was probably too close to everything else that was going on. So the motion was just made to do away with this route and continue the conversation about the other three routes. Okay, we're okay with that? Yeah. Okay. Again, this is a route that the city had presented at the Civic Center. So the motion right now is not to move forward with that route. I have a motion by Commissioner Nettleton, second by Commissioner Wardlaw, and at this time we'll take a vote on that one. And then we'll sort of start trying to go through and whittle down some of the options. All right? I have a motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Wardlaw. All those in favor? Yeah.
I want everybody to understand, this is simply a recommendation from the county. Can you speak up, sir? I'm sorry, I forgot to turn this on. This is simply a recommendation from the county. Since this is not particularly our project, we can't tell them not to build it there. This is simply our recommendation to the city that this particular route does not work. So that's all this is. It doesn't mean it won't get built there because this is a city project, so.
Y'all understand that? We're going to take a vote. Will that be okay? Okay. And then we can have a conversation a little bit after that. Yeah, you're on. You're good. Yeah. I have a motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Wardlaw. Any other conversations, commissioners? Any comments? We're good? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anybody against the motion? None. Motion carries. All right. If y'all want to speak, and this is going to be pretty much open. I mean, we're here to listen to y'all and try to come up with a solution. You just raise your hands if you want to go first, sir. If you don't mind coming up to the mic and just your name, and then you can go ahead and get going.
Yeah, my name is Jordan Ediger, and I'm a resident of Alberta County. And please don't be intimidated by this. I just want to keep on track here. So if you want, I just want to make sure I stay under 5 minutes. Well, first of all, I just wanted to I want to make an argument here, if you wouldn't mind. And first, my argument requires some assumptions. Again, the assumptions are that the purpose of the government is to protect and provide for the safety and security of the citizens. Okay? So, in addition, that's not the primary purpose of government, which is to make money, essentially, the safety and security of its citizens. And I know that we need a bridge, and I understand that. And I don't think that any of us really would argue that we do not need a bridge. I feel like that is stated. The reasons for the bridge being that we have, of course, the plains is coming down, and it's supposed to go through Del Rio. And in addition, we need to get truck traffic out of the city. And truck traffic in the city is a problem. I agree with you. But when faced with the option to place a bridge north or south of Del Rio, we're faced with two outcomes. One that will inevitably cause a safety or security issue with our constituents, and one that causes nearly zero safety and or security issues with your constituents. So, like I said, it's a safety and security issue. How is it that it's a safety and security issue? Well, the border is our gateway for vetting the entire world into America. So in that being said, we are very used to having an international bridge in Del Rio. I also would argue that it would be easy to say that having a porous port causes safety and security issues, that being through drug trafficking, human trafficking, and so on and so forth. So here we stand with an option to place a bridge either on the north side of Del Rio, and there's also an option here to place a bridge on the south side of Del Rio. And if you look at both of these options, all of the options for placing a bridge on the north side of Del Rio poses safety and security issues for everyone on the north side of Del Rio. If you live between the lake and the city of Del Rio, these folks who are coming through illegally, who are a safety and security issue, it won't just be constrained to just the road itself. What we're talking about here is international commercial traffic going through the backyards, and I say that loosely because it is a large area. It is a port that is allowing for traffic through the north side of Del Rio. And if you look at the bridge area and where it could go, there are no good options if you place a bridge on the north side. And I know that the agenda here is talking about a bridge, but the bridge determines the route. So if we're going to talk about the route, we also need to talk about where the bridge goes. And let me get on track. So why north? Well, I hear arguments saying, well, this plan has been going on for 50 to 20 years. Okay? The problem with that argument is, well, let's talk about the scope of who this is going to affect. The people who were told about this were folks who were physically connected to the original plan. The folks who were not told about this in the last 15 to 20 years were folks who were purchased properties not physically touching the property, the plan itself, the original route down Las Brisas. Now, to caveat that, remember, the scope of the safety and security issue is the entire region. We're talking about an international border with 4-lane truck traffic. And if you know our truck traffic already, it is an issue. And it's going to go many ways. You know, we're saying that we're not going to support or recommend a certain route right now. But if we vote for a north route, and if someone comes down and says, well, that route is not going to work, then what are you going to do then? What's going to happen when this route that looks okay, that looks appeasing to all of us, that affects the least amount of folks, what's going to happen when the Department of Transportation says, well, that's not going to work, or some sort of other federal agency is going to say, well, that's not going to work? What are we going to do then? You're going to have to come up with another route that goes right back to the same problem. Perhaps Las Brisas again. Perhaps right through our backyards again. So, for that reason, it's a giant, the whole scope of it isn't just limited to what it touches, it's the entire region. And here we have an option that goes south. And if somebody could please point to me, one family's backyard where that south option goes through, I would like to know it. Because I personally do not see a single home whose backyard that goes through. And here,
Okay, wait a minute.
I'd like to see that.
Over here.
Can you show me that home?
They're gonna put it up. Your time's up. Okay? And we will have that conversation. Just let them put it up.
I do have more.
Yeah, I get it. But again, we're not gonna give every,
I have one more thing that's very important, okay? If you wouldn't mind, please. A petition has been created, okay, and let me read it to you, and I'll tell you how many folks have signed on to it. It says, the residents of Del Rio and Del Rio County demand that a new international bridge not be placed north of Del Rio between the city of Del Rio and Lake Amistad. A new international bridge north of the city of Del Rio places all residents who live in the city of Del Rio and Lake Amistad with a significant increased safety and security risk. In addition, the further development of international truck traffic north of Del Rio will reduce the valuation of the residential property of the residents of Del Rio County and effectively the economics of the city of Del Rio. An international bridge south of Del Rio is the only feasible option for Del Rio County and Del Rio. And currently, I have over 400 signatures for that.
okay. I appreciate it. Thank you. And the petition, send it to us, send it to the city, whatever you want to do. The issue with that is, and we've had this conversation before, at the point that the two landowners decide to get voluntarily annexed, we will no longer have a say in this, okay? But we're good, all right? We're gonna go over the map right now because you brought it up, so it's up right now. And I will tell you that we've had this conversation, Commissioner Nettleton and myself had this conversation a little while ago. This is a route that goes to a bridge in South Del Rio. If this was the only thing that was going to be considered, the only thing, this route is the best route for a bridge, if this is the only thing going to be considered. The problem is that it's not going to be. At some point, there will be a route, and me and Commissioner Nettleton have been going over and over, back and forth on this. At some point, there will need to be a route, or there will be a route between this line and the industrial park. At that point, which is going to be just as soon as you build a bridge, now we're talking about affecting, and there's two other routes. Well, just let me finish. I didn't interrupt you, so just give me a minute. There's two routes. One of them would come from the port. You take a right at the port. You go down to the stop sign, you take another right, and you go to the Star Ranch, which you're going to take out two whole subdivisions. One of them is Lupita subdivision. One of them is a trailer park. Okay, so you take those out. The other one, well, there's three of them. The other one, you come to the stop sign, you keep going straight across. Basically, you look at the White House at the end of the road, which is Miss Chandler. You would end up going that way, and you'd end up right behind Pepper Lane. All right? So that's where it'd be affected. If it was just a bridge, you're good. The other route, hold on. The other route would be to come along the water, along the banks of the river, and build an overpass or an underpass, depending on what line you draw, at the first bridge, okay? But The rest of it would have to be elevated, or there would have to be other issues, and you correct me if I'm wrong, where there would be other issues with that problem, with that, because it's next to the water and it'd be built in a floodway. Not in the flood zone, but in the
That's
floodway.
a compromise option.
Okay?
So the industrial area is a small problem because it's our local truck traffic. So what we're talking about here and discussing is the international bridge and international traffic. How about we solve the international problem? And I would be, and I'm speaking purely for myself, I would be open to a conversation of connecting our local, smaller, industrial zone, going.
With the bridge.
Perhaps, no, not,
With the bridge we have now.
if they, no, no, if they need to go north. Perhaps creating a smaller route and addressing that problem as a separate issue.
Okay.
Meaning, if you wanted to go north, yes. If you wanted to go north, we're talking smaller traffic. We're talking not international safety and security issues. We're talking our local vetted truckers going through perhaps north. That is an option.
And I will tell you that we've looked at that, and the way Commissioner Nettleton started this was that at the end of the day, we're gonna try to come up with a recommendation to the city to go what we would follow or try to what we would accept. And that's the reason we're having this meeting. At the end of the day, it won't be our discussion. It won't be our decision. We can push hard either way. Ma'am, in just a minute. And you can come, and if you'll come up, you can speak. Okay. We've looked at that. And even looking at, well, just keep the truck traffic that is going to the industrial park on the first bridge. And then use the second bridge, trucks that are coming in, and if you want a faster way to come across, use the second bridge. And don't connect the industrial park to the second bridge, okay? That's not gonna be our call. I will tell you that we need to take into consideration, my opinion, and you just said a little while ago, can't speak for everybody, I can't speak for everybody, but my opinion is that you're gonna have to take into consideration what route the city is going to want to take for industrial park. It just is what it is. Ma'am, you had a question?
Just because you're giving the recommendation.
We can't hear you. Can you come up, ma'am?
Because you're giving the recommendation to the city.
If you'll come up and say who you are, and then we'll go from there.
I'm Rochelle Winker.
Thank you, ma'am.
Sundance Estates. Because you're giving your recommendation to the city,
Mhm.
then if your recommendation doesn't, go with any of our opinions of what we think should happen, or if we oppose to it, what is our next step?
Get rid of us?
Fight for the city.
Get rid of us.
That'll happen.
Mhm.
But other than that, like with the city, who is that person? What's our?
I would visit with John Sheedy and the mayor,
Okay,
okay?
all of us?
I would say that you've already got, you already have a good start with the petition, that's being signed. So I would ask, if I was in y'all's shoes, I would definitely go ask, the city for a meeting, like what you're doing right now, and ask them to call a meeting. It would be wise, for the city to have a special meeting like this one, to hear y'all's concerns. And that's the reason we're here, okay?
There's just a lot of crime, especially the past 3 years.
Mhm.
We've all had to put in extra security cameras, we've had 25 illegals across the street from our house, helicopters are constantly flying around. So based on that, I mean, it's not a safe area already because of what's happening.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
then it's just going to become even more unsafe. It's going to bring everybody's property value down, and it's something that none of us want. So I would hope that everybody takes that into consideration as well.
And ma'am, again, that's how come we're having this meeting, is to listen to y'all. All right? No.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, please, one question. You said the city's already moving forward.
No, the city presented us the map that was up there first. The city had actually in June of last year, had moved forward with plans to run down Las Brisas Road. And I think at that point, there was letters in July, if I'm not mistaken, that were sent to people, everybody along Las Brisas Road. So the city was moving forward. They had a meeting in November at the Civic Center to unveil their plan. And then we had another meeting, a joint city and commissioners court meeting, I think December 6th. And then we have not heard anything back from them until 3 weeks ago or a month ago, whenever we met with them, and that's when they presented their other plan.
Who has jurisdiction over the county?
I will tell you that the comments that we do. Can they?
Y'all, the county
We do,
commissioners, or-
we do. No, the court. The court has jurisdiction, anything outside the city limits, but they can go around us.
Look, y'all need to fight for us.
Sir, that's how come we're here listening to
No,
y'all.
And understand, because I'm gonna tell you something that happened that really got under my skin, and it really hurts me that our city, that our mayor's office is calling some of our workplaces and trying to get us in trouble.
Well, and I can tell you right now that I can tell you, well, I'd be a little bit more vocal than that, but we have kids, we have a couple kids in the audience.
Oh, yeah, but I'm
But I will tell you right now, I'll use your term, that's absolutely bullshit, that I don't care if you show up in your underwear and uniform, you should have a right to come, and you should have a right, not only to come to this court, but to go to city council, say whatever the hell y'all want to say,
Oh, yeah.
¿verdad? And that's why we're here.
I'm gonna let you know right now. He was here last meeting
Mhm.
demanding answers.
Okay.
And now that we have something that we want asked, and we want answered to from them also, not just from y'all, from them, they're not here to answer our questions. They're just hiding, and this, trying to push people, or trying to intimidate, it needs to stop right here, right now, today.
I agree, and I will tell you,
We got that, we got that, not just here, Del Rio will get y'all out, we're not just meaning y'all, but we don't play that tactics here, it's enough, it's enough.
well, and I will tell you, that's how come we're here listening to y'all, all right? What gets me is that we're gonna have to make a decision. We're gonna make people mad, we're gonna make some happy, but we need to come to a decision because we have people's lives on hold. And then, if y'all don't like the decision,
The only people that are gonna benefit are the ones from the pool. That's because I've seen some pictures of the city, the mayor, with some Chinese investors. And in order to be a millionaire, wherever in China, you have to be part of the Communist Chinese Party. And that's an issue. We need to look into it. Why is he posting pictures of them? He's supposed to be here for us, not for them. I don't care where they build the factories. It's where it's about us. That's not about Mexico, it's not about his friends, it's about his constituents.
you're not gonna get an argument from me.
So, I mean, y'all need to bring it up to the city as well and say, look, if you did that, they need to call and make a formal apology to that individual. Because this is a bunch of BS.
I agree. Try it. Talk into it, we'll find out. Yeah, she's on her way. If that don't work, I'll give you this one.
You can probably hear me with.
Yeah, but they can't hear you in the back because you're facing me. There you go.
Okay, anyways, thank you for listening to me, and if you know me, I kind of try to find out a little bit of information.
Thank
Oh, my name's Kelly Pratt. And I live out, in La Caleta and Shaman Estates. My mother owns Lorena's Cantina. So before I came here today, I tried to find out a little bit more information about everything in the bridge. And some of you on the board are very nice and answer the phone, you answer my questions, you're very upfront, even when it's what I don't like to hear. But, the one problem that I have is, first of all, the traffic. I know that you all are not going to propose having it in South Del Rio. I know that you're not gonna propose having it in La Brisas. And I know that you're gonna propose the other two options, one coming out right in front of Lorena's Cantina, and the other one following the railroad tracks and coming out that way. The thing is, and the reason I wish people would be honest and tell them why we kind of don't have a say, because there are owners of those lands that are going to allow the city to annex their land. Then that makes this the county not have an option to say no anymore. They can't tell you that, but I'm gonna tell you that. So those are where they're gonna go. If it was up to me, and this is my opinion, and I already told you, Owens, is I'm okay with the option of going to the railroad tracks. You explained to me that you would have to, get it approved federally, and it's gonna be a little more work and all that. But let's not be, who's afraid of a little hard work? If it's going to make everybody else, not lose their backyards and have them, this coming through their, through the middle of our neighborhood. Because let me tell you something, South Del Rio is no more important than us. You all need to remember that. Some of you live in South Del Rio, and some of you live on the outskirts of Valverde. We're all the same. We all live in Valverde County. So why not work a little harder, propose the one that goes through the railroad tracks? It makes sense. Who knows if they're ever gonna have a stop of a railroad out there and have cars and stuff, and you all are talking about industrial parks out there. Also, if they come out that way, half of the traffic, the cargo traffic, is gonna go west towards Comstock to Port Stockton. So you're gonna lose a little bit of the traffic coming back in to hit the loop. Do you see what I'm saying? I mean, to me, it sounds logical. It's a little more hard work. We may not get it approved, but let's try. It affects all of us. And I feel bad for South Del Rio and Las Brisas and us. I just want us to support each other because all of these routes suck.
And, yes.
Sorry.
And we had this conversation, visited with you, I think, on Monday.
The what?
We visited with you on Monday. Is this thing on? Yeah. We visited on Monday, and like I told you, we need to present everything and then try to come up with a solution. Some of the conversation that me and you had, if the road went through, whether it goes to Agua Vista, which that's not gonna happen, but even if it goes to Arenas Cantina, there will be commercial development there. And we had this conversation, that it needs to be put out there. It isn't just build a road, because if the road is built from Las Brisas to 90, whether it comes out at Agua Vista or Lorena's Cantina, you will have them coming back at us and asking for zoning change. We're looking into right now which one trumps what, whether it is, we have Amistad zoning. So does Amistad zoning trump the city if they annex into the city? I mean, we're looking into that right now, because if they do get annexed, the road goes through either one of those routes, either to Lorena's Cantina or to Agua Vista. I can tell you that we could go all day long, and we could have the conversation, who's going to benefit, who's not going to benefit, and all this. But I will tell you that either one of those two routes, it's going to be bad.
Think about the truck drivers. They know truck drivers are bad.
Can you come up? I can't hear you.
But you're talking about industrial parks out there, and you're talking about them sleeping overnight. I mean, these are people coming from everywhere, and they're in our neighborhoods. We don't have the law enforcement out there as it is to show up to our homes and everything, because they're so booked with the border.
Okay, hold on.
I mean,
If y'all don't mind, we're carrying conversations back in the back, and I get it that y'all have something to say, but it would be really nice if y'all want something to say to come up to the mic. That way we can hear it. Could y'all start carrying conversations in the back? It's distracting for us, if y'all don't mind. Yes, sir.
Thank you. My name is Bradley Daines, wife on the next office. Judge Owens, I want to thank you and Commissioner.
Mike?
I can talk about it.
Boost it up a little. Do it? Yeah, they're gonna go play with it. If not, I'll give you mine,
I can probably.
while he does that, you can play with this one. No, I'm sorry. Again, this is the first time we use this, so if y'all bear with us. How's it going? Thank you, sir. We can hear you.
Hello?
Can everybody hear me? Hi, my name is Bradley Baines. My wife and I own a property in Rancho Bella Vista. We bought it in 2016, but my family has been landowners in Val Verde County since 1974, long time. So I appreciate the growth at the city of Del Rio. I've seen it firsthand, just like everyone else has. If a bridge gets built on whatever you want to call the north side or the west side of the city of Del Rio, four major concerns, and I know you guys have looked at plenty of Google Earth maps and everything else over the last probably several months, just as I have and everyone else in this room. But first of all, who made the decision to stop Loop 79 at the commercial interchange at 90 West off at Las Brisas? When that decision was made, the die was cast that residential development was going to be a priority on the north and the west side of Del Rio. And it has boomed. It has exploded. That's where anyone can drive around and see it. That's where all the nice homes are being built in Del Rio now. So that die was cast then. And the county has benefited by it. I can't speak for everyone else, but since we bought our home in 2016, my taxes have almost doubled. Literally. I'm not 65 yet. I'm getting closer every day, but I'm not there yet. I'm counting today. But there are some homes in our neighborhood that are worth 3 times the price of my home. And those homes weren't there 10 years ago. So I know the county has greatly benefited, and the city's benefited from that too. Why would you want to stop that? Because you put that, if you put that bridge on the north or west side of Del Rio and have a reliever route anywhere over there, that's going to deter and stop the building of $500,000 or $1 million plus homes that are being routinely built. My house is in Rancho Bella Vista. The new pharmacist at HEB just built probably a $700,000 house. They're just finishing right now next door to me. We have 4 other large houses in our development that are being built right now. So you're not only are you going to deter it, future building there, but you're going to cut the tax base that you have built up and the county's benefited from for the last 10 years. You might cut as much as a third there. So why would you really want to do that? And I know that's not a speech for this board.
The map that is up here right now, and just interrupt just a minute, what is up here right now and what you're looking at on the monitors are there's a green line that would go to Lorena's Cantina. The other sort of greenish line is the one that we just voted not to do towards Agua Vista. So I guess in the conversations that I'm hearing right now, and I will tell y'all that in the conversation with Ms. Pratt this week, and we had the conversation with you a couple weeks ago, either one of the 2 lines that are there will be commercial development on both of them, if those 2 are allowed to move forward.
Looking on that green line, there'll be warehouses on both sides of the road,
Yes, sir.
all the way to 90, and then in addition, on 90, going all the way to the bridge and all the way to Loop 79 where it interchanges right there. That's what will happen.
Yeah.
And that will, can't say, won't speak in, I'm in favor of moving the route to the original placement on the south or east side of Del Rio. The infrastructure, y'all know, 79 was built for that. Ports to Plains, I'm from Midland. I hired August Pfluger's father to join my law firm in Midland years ago. I'm familiar with the route. I have friends that go all the way to South Dakota, friends that are on the committee. The route is going to come, we hope, knock on wood, from Sonora to Del Rio to Eagle Pass to Laredo to Monterey. What does that do for y'all? The action is going to be on the southeast side of Del Rio and Val Verde County. Y'all know this. That's why the city and county are looking at doing a new industrial park out there south of 90, between 277 and Loop 79. That's where the action's gonna be. That's where the trucks are gonna be. That, that die was cast a long time ago. Where the route will be exactly, everyone thinks they know, but I'm telling you, as of a week ago, they're still debating that with the powers that be on that board, on the Ports to Plains board. One, and I know y'all have grappled with this, and I suspect the city has too. If you know, I've sent Freedom of Information Act requests to the city. It's a lengthy list. A meeting with Mr. Sheedy, have met with your new city attorney to get those documents. I don't have them yet. They're due, but I agreed that I would work with the city to get those documents. It is a lengthy list. Some fair, some not fair. But this is an important project for Val Verde County. We want to get it right. And I would ask that this body wait until we get some information that I've requested. I'll be happy to provide Judge you, Bo, a copy of if you hadn't seen it already. It's a pretty thick stack. Happy to do it. I didn't send it to the county because it's within the ETJ of the city. And they're the ones that are heading up the project.
We really do.
Well, it hits my pocketbook too.
Real quick, don't leave. The map or the proposed two routes that are on the screen right now, with the commercial truck traffic that would be developed and industrial parks that would be developed along these two lines, does the court want at this time, we took out one road, do we want to take out the other road, or we need to continue to talk about this one along with the blue one and the pink line?
I'm gonna give you my opinion.
Judge, I'd like to say something, from hearing, the people talk and telling us their concerns, it seems like it's gonna melt down to the route in the south side. But, I mean, that's my opinion. I mean, that would be the one that you would only deal with one property owner at the end of the day, instead of,
Heading neighborhoods, yeah.
who's that, who's property, I don't even know the guy.
Okay. Okay, and in saying
Is that the
that,
old Moody Ranch?
yeah,
Okay.
so let's do this real quick. I mean, y'all are, if y'all are proposing, if the court is going to propose the south route to the city of Del Rio, then we need to also propose that the connecting route does not go through Lupita, Pepper, and all that other, affect all them. You know, that would be, we need to take into consideration. Well, let's have a conversation, continue to have this conversation. I'd like to get another road off the table. So the green road, real quick, the green road that is up there right now, we already took the other one that goes to Ala Vista off. Can we take the green one off the table?
I'll make a motion to not recommend the use of that road that comes out, which is the green one out by Lorena's Camping.
I have a motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Vasquez. All those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 5-0. My biggest concern, and I keep telling y'all, and we've had this conversation, is that if we were, and I started off this whole damn deal, that the road that on the south side is the better route if it's just a bridge, okay? There will have to be recommendations made by this court to protect also those citizens, and especially, I don't want to take out a whole damn subdivision, all right? I don't want to take out y'all's, I don't want to take out Lupita subdivision, I don't want to take out the trailer park, I don't want to drive a road behind people on Pepper Lane. The Hargroves are going to be madder than hell at me, and the hurt is because, ma'am?
We're gonna do it like they should have a long time ago. Better, all of it.
Okay. I didn't hear you, but okay.
Carney Fiddler, all of us.
Thank you, Judge, very much, and I meant it, I would be happy to work, and some of the, I know Bo Champ pretty well, and be happy to work, with the court to help and do what's best for the overall county.
And again, y'all need to understand that he came up a little while ago and he said, well, bottom line is, why does the city out in our backyard, right? The problem is gonna be if these people decide to annex, I don't give a shit what we decide to do, don't do, go to do, or whatever.
I understand that. There are.
Sir? Yes, sir.
Yeah.
No, and we will. Me and you've had this conversation. I don't want to get to a point where I'm spending $500,000 out of y'all's pocket and the city spending $500,000 out of their pocket where we could have come up with another solution. I've already heard 2 members of the court already say South Del Rio. I don't know what the other 3 members of the court are going to do. The only thing that concerns me is if there is a route to be drawn from the bridge, if it goes on the south side, we will need to fight that route going to the industrial park. Okay?
Is it true, I've heard lots of rumors, and I'm a litigator with a title lawyer and dug around, that their acreage has been purchased for a new industrial park out there on the southeast side?
No, not that I know of. I will tell you that there's one of the maquilas that is in Mexico right now that purchased more property in industrial park to build another warehouse.
Okay.
That I know for sure.
Right.
And you said a little while ago, and we'll get to you in a minute, I'm sorry. We said a little while ago that the city and the county were working together on an industrial park. That's not true.
Okay.
The county, with one dissenting vote, is looking at trying to set aside about 400 acres on the SC Ranch. If you turn off of 90 east on SL 79 going to 277, it would be 400 acres, back towards the city. So we'd actually, when we purchased that land, we did 2 different notes, when we bought it, in order to be able to go do something with it. So it's not the city and the county working together. If that goes through, we will partner with the city so they can give us ideas on how to make it work. But as far as partnering with them to try to sell it to them or whatever, I don't see that happening. So it would be the county trying to sell some of that land, trying to make up the $6 million that we paid for everything.
I
Okay.
saw those conveyances, so. Lastly, there are 15 bus routes between, I don't know if this body knows that or not, with the school district, between just, if you will, just on the other side of 79, coming back towards Del Rio, to Highway 90 bridge, off of Highway 90. And I'm going, why do you want all that additional commercial truck traffic right there with the bus routes?
Yeah, and I will tell
That's
you
on their
that
website.
we're also, the county is going to partner with the city, not with the city, with the school that they're building now, trying to help them put a road from the school back down to the highway to eliminate some of the traffic going through the subdivision. So either way, I jumped off topic. Sorry about that.
Thank you, Judge, very much.
Yes, sir. If you would just state your name, sir, before you get started.
My name's Richard Phipps. One of my questions is, who's funding the bridge?
I can tell you that what we've looked at, there's been comments made, and I'm gonna go around in a little bit of a circle before I get there. There's been comments made that there's enough money off the first bridge to pay for the second bridge. That's not true. Well, it could be, but the city be in deep shit. The city makes about $8 million off the revenue off of the first bridge. There's about $4.8 million that they put, from the revenue on the first bridge into their general fund. So they have about 2 point some odd million, $2 to $2.5 million, depending how they slice it, that would actually go to pay for a second bridge. That money would pay for the bridge, but would not, it's not enough money to pay for the bridge and the route. So when you ask who would fund it, it would have to be TxDOT and the federal government to help pay for at least the road. And if they wouldn't pay for the bridge, then the city would be able at that point to borrow money to pay for the bridge, and they would have enough income to pay for the bridge. Did that answer your question?
In a roundabout way. So what about manpower on the bridge? They don't have enough manpower now to run the main bridge and the one at the lake coming across. Now you're wanting to build another bridge, or not y'all, but they're wanting to build another bridge, and we don't have enough manpower to run 3 bridges?
shit by myself without, okay, getting stuck with that. But yes, sir, yes, sir. And we were concerned that how were they going to man it? That was one of the concerns when we did the feasibility study, because the county and the city, just to be completely honest, we entered into this 2011, 2012, 2013. We were having this conversation. We ended up with a feasibility study that came back. When that feasibility study came back, it didn't make sense to build it, okay? It does make sense, though, and we've had this conversation again, I keep pointing towards him, that we have the conversation about a second bridge. If we don't have a conversation about a second bridge and figure out where to put it, we will continue to have this many people no matter where we put it, and even worse, all right? So I think the conversation that we're having, do we need a bridge? Do we need it today? No. Do we need it in 2025, 2028, 2030? Probably not. But if you don't have the conversation now to be able to develop a path for it, then it's going to be worse later on when we need it. The city of Del Rio has enough funds from their first international bridge to pay for the bridge. They don't have enough funds, I don't care how you slice it, to be able to pay for the bridge and the roadway. It's just, their numbers ain't there, okay? And I'm sorry, go ahead.
Do you have the numbers on the truck traffic that comes across the bridge now?
No.
And what they're gonna be whenever
I will tell you
whenever one's
that
built?
we were in a meeting, the numbers that we received in 2013, 2014, there was hardly any growth, okay? I have asked for numbers, of the amount of truck traffic that we have now, not the dollar amount. What I was given was a dollar amount, the value of what is in the truck, in the trucks, and this is what's come across. That doesn't do nothing for me, because I don't care what's in the truck, I want to know how many trucks came across. So I have not gotten that yet. The dollar amount that I was given was really high, it looks good, but everything's gone through the roof. So, you know, did you haul 5 more trucks to get to that dollar amount, or 2 more trucks? I will tell you that within the city's budget, within their budget, when they did the budget that they're in right now, it says that they are 2.5% behind pre-pandemic numbers. We were told in the meeting that we went to that it was 20% higher than last year. And like I told them, that doesn't do nothing for me, because last year we were still pandemic. The year before that, we were still pandemic. Give me pre-pandemic numbers, and then we can determine some type of growth pattern. If you're giving me numbers between 2020 and now, it don't matter. You're giving me percentage based on last year and the year before, nobody was moving. So I have not, and to answer your question, no, sir, I've not seen those numbers as of today.
Okay, and one more. So if the 2 landowners sell to the city and agree,
And you say sell, the 2 landowners ain't gonna sell anything. They're probably gonna give their land in order to be annexed, in order to get it. And I'm gonna put myself in their shoes. If I was a developer and owned both those tracts of land, or either one of those tracts of lands, I'd be raising my hand, wanting to get annexed, wanting to get water, sewer, wanting to get a bridge against one of the canyons that is on one of the property, in order to be able to get all the infrastructure that is needed to do a development. The other one does not need a bridge, he just needs water and sewer. And go ahead, I'm sorry.
so are the rest of us gonna be annexed if that happens?
I can tell you that we just had this conversation a little while ago before the meeting. Yeah, you already know the answer. Yeah, I ain't gonna, just go ahead and rip that Band-Aid off. If you have 2 major landowners like that say that I want my bridge here, and I want to go through either one of those lines that are up there, and they go to begin and they say, I want to get annexed. There's a little strip down here at the bottom between both major landowners, that little pie safe there, that's the only part the city would have to worry about for a while in annexing. But would the rest of y'all be coming wherever you live between the city limits and the lake? Answer to that is yes. I mean, we're not going, and she's shaking her head up and down because she knows, yes, sir, it would be coming. And we had this conversation a little while ago. You know, would we argue and fight? And like he said a little while ago, we represent y'all. We're very unique at the court because we don't represent people just outside of the city limits. We represent everybody that lives in the county, whether you live inside the city, outside the city. So, answer to his question, yes, we would be arguing not to annex. But is it possible? Is that where they would be? I can't say that that's what they would do, for sure. But more than likely, yeah.
That's all I got.
Okay. Is there anybody else?
Judge and counsel, commissioners, the conversations that we're having make you all look very disingenuous because you're trying to fight here at the county and the city is nowhere close to making a decision. Maybe they have made it, but it makes you all look disingenuous because you seem to be pushing this cart. Now, the future bridge, at first you all didn't want it and now you want it. There's no industrial traffic, per se, that would require such a structure. The lack of federal and local personnel keep our now international bridge at a turtle's pace. The industrial traffic is open only from 8 to 5. And on the day that they close down the industrial traffic for a week and send the traffic up to Eagle Pass, La Rancherita reported they only had 300 more industrial vehicles come through their bridge. Yet, you all have an array of ideas, and so does the city. But it's all about investing taxpayers' money. And the suppositions that we're all making and the things that we're talking about are not making any sense because we don't have anything concrete to work with. We're only supposing that this or that is going to happen. We don't know for sure. And of course, that makes no sense to the taxpayers. We want something concrete. We want some answers, specific answers. There's nothing that ensures that the bridge we plan on building or the Port of Plains Highway will create and bring industry that will constitute an industrial complex area and warehouses and many other things that are being planned, like the travel center. We don't even have transportation to move those people from there to here if they wanted to come to use the facilities in Del Rio. We've been misguided as taxpayers into believing that we can reach 1,000+ commercial trucks per day. It's not going to happen. We need to build the industry first before we actually build the bridge. Besides, we are fools to believe that Mexico is going to invest in another highway to cross the Sierra Madre. That's not happening. The closest one is up in Monclova. And I don't think they're foreseeing anything going through the desert or the Sierra Madre. The notion of this bridge is irresponsible of your duty to the taxpayers. Well, not even. Now you've mentioned one who wants to build a warehouse. But not even one industrial company has come to Del Rio or the county and asked for permits. The last one was an electrical company who was willing to offer 50 people a job, and the city turned it down because they wanted them to build their factory. They didn't want them to use an old one. Besides, the truckers that are now coming into Del Rio don't really like coming because, in the first place, they don't have a place to park. We were talking with TxDOT and asking them to open up that little section between Ramada and Whataburger and make parking slots diagonally so that the trucks would have a place to park. Plus, they had that one road in the middle that they could use in case there was an emergency for the trucks. Yet what did they do? They didn't talk to you guys. They didn't talk to the city. They built sidewalks. They built cordons. And now no one can get on those. That was the only opportunity that we had as the city to treat these truckers properly. They couldn't park anywhere to buy food. There is no way that they can go to the drive-thrus. There is, however, an ulterior motive somewhere that infringes on the rights of the people who are holding and owning property in the areas of either of the proposed sites, by the county and by the city. There is a massive overreach, a takeover of choice property. Now, with the 2023 property appraisals, and when you declare your taxing percentages for 2023, you can expect a lot more people out in the county leaving. You annex parts of the county, those people are leaving and they're not coming back. So you can expect now, after you present your taxing percentages, a lot more dissidence from your taxpayers. If you think we're angry now, we're going to be angrier when we find out how much we have to pay. Now, if these people leave, again, like they said, we're going to lose all those taxes. They're not going to come back. They're going to take them somewhere else. There is very little that you and the city can offer the taxpayers. There's no major shopping and medical facilities. We're lacking in doctors and specialists, like endocrinologists. We don't even have one. Few quality paying jobs, no proper lighting and decently paved streets, no proper drainage. But what you do offer is more taxation, more of a burden from 4 taxing entities. Unbelievable that you all think and believe that if you build the bridge, they will come. This is out of line, and it's offensive to our ears, because I know they're not going to come. Besides, what I don't understand is why are we always catering to Mexico? What does Mexico have to offer us? When we look at the routes, they have the smallest route, and we still have to pay a larger portion, 3/4, and they only pay 1/4? Who are we really benefiting? Who are we really working for? We need to start thinking about how much it's going to cost us so they can benefit. We don't have the industry, they do. So we need to look a little deeper and try to come up with a real solution between the city and the county before we actually come up with any kind of this. Because really, it's wasting your time, it's making you all look bad, and it's making us all angry. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. I do want to touch, my name is Bruce Henderson. I'm a landowner. I own that property right there where that little connection cuts into Danda on that lime green road. So I'm right there off Las Brisas in the corner of Danda. So I will touch just briefly on what Mr. Luis said, threats. I know it was none of you individuals up here that tried to intimidate anybody, but we're not going to stand for it. I know it was the mayor's office. After the last meeting, reached out, calling the base, trying to get one of our citizens in trouble, trying to get him to back down. We're not going to stand for that. Del Rio's not going to stand for that. So this is only being done, this northern route is only being done to pacify certain landowners. As Jordan was saying earlier, this is causing a huge safety concern. You're looking at that 800 acres of track right there, being put an industrial complex in an area that is surrounded 360 degrees by residential homes, where kids go ride their bikes, they ride their four-wheelers. Elderly people get out and go for walks in the afternoons. You got people out jogging at 6 in the morning. We don't want to see commercial traffic anywhere near that Las Brisas. Anywhere on 90. It's a huge safety concern. By doing this, you're going to significantly increase commercial traffic. Not only the truck traffic, but the people that working in the warehouses, you know. Most of those jobs, if they're Mexican-based companies, they will be setting up shop, and their border crossers will be coming across and working in those factories. It won't be their real citizens with jobs. It'll be a lot of B1, B2 crossers coming in because their base company is out of Mexico, and they're getting paid out of their Mexican office. So take that into consideration. For the last 15, 20 years, the county, landowners have gone out in that area and developed residential homes. I mean, just in the past 10 years, there's been a huge development out there. The Kelly Ranch, the La Caleta, the Rancho Agua Vista, Lake Ridge, Lake Ridge 2, all that area that where I live in. And these landowners have profited off that. And they've made tons of money. But now, it seems like they want to come in here and throw commercial warehouses right in the center of it. That's not fair to us. It's not fair. They certainly were not working in our best interest when they sold that land. They weren't being forthcoming when they sold that land and told us exactly what they're going to put across the street from my place. I can tell all of y'all on that. The lake has been a tourist attraction for Del Rio for over 50 years. I know hundreds of people that come down here 2 or 3 times a year. They come down here for tourist activities. They come down to go fishing. They come up from Midland, all that northern area. So putting more commercial traffic out there is just gonna, it's like Jordan told me here a while back, it's just gonna turn the lake area into a big truck stop, is all it's gonna do. And I don't think Del Rio has profited off that lake for 50 years. And now we're gonna do this to it? We can't let them do this to that lake. You're looking at putting a commercial industrial complex, or they are, within a half a mile from a national park. Has anybody even looked at what that could do to the environment or anything out there? I mean, I doubt the city's done it. So let's talk a little bit why the big push is right there, right?
Okay. Before we get into that one, we will push really hard not to do either one of the two that are up there.
And I appreciate that. I know we've had conversations, and you're working out towards the railroad tracks on the northern side.
And we'll have that one here today.
But let's let everybody hear why that's so important right there, okay? That piece of property, that 800 acres, by public record, is owned by Las Brisas Ranch LLC. The primary owners of that is Justin Burke, John Weston, and Pat Ellis. Okay? Let's go in a little deeper. Mr. Weston is part owners with Fonteta Construction. So is the Ramones. Now the city has just recently hired Jorge Ramon as their new economic development director. Y'all don't see a conflict of interest there? We do, obviously. A lot of people see it. Not just the citizens, but we all see the conflict of interest that's going on. So I'm asking you guys as our county reps to fight for us. You just said, Judge, that you don't want to get back and forth, spending $500,000 here, $500,000 there. Well, the city of Del Rio's already spent over $2 million before they even consulted you guys of taxpayer money. And they didn't even talk to you guys about it. So if that's what it takes, I'm willing to give up my tax money. Let's fight. Okay? Since Thursday, they started a petition, and there's already over 400 signatures on a holiday weekend. I didn't work real hard on 4th of July, but I still got some signatures. We're going to continue with that petition and get more and more. But the petition, everyone we've spoken to, any house, any citizen, any resident out there that owns a home, we've yet to see one single person that wants that coming through their backyard. Like I said, the traffic out 90 at the Y, if any of y'all have gone out there in the afternoons, 5 o'clock in the mornings, in the last 3 years, I've noticed a huge increase in traffic from Rancho Agua Vista, the Lake Ridge subdivisions. It's just people going to and from work. Now we're going to throw truck traffic out there and more commercial traffic. It's just a bad idea. The Las Brisas, they can develop that 800 acres into land with residential homes. And I don't think you'll get a complaint by anybody here. I don't mind having homes across from me. I just don't want commercial trucks and warehouses. You know, we all bought it. I bought out there in 2007. There was no sign of any of this coming back then. Y'all said yourselves you got on board with this around 2012. I know 20 years ago, you might have thought of a roadway, Mr. Nettleton, to go down through there, but that was before any of that was developed, and they've allowed all these homes to be developed now. So it's kind of too late, too little at this point. So, in my opinion, keeping the commercial traffic out of that area, the Las Brisas area, anywhere right there in that 800 acres, we've got to do that. I know everybody's pushing south, south, south. That is my number one option. I agree. We should put that south ring route into play, and that's it. Put the bridge, put a direct connect to 79, and let it go. If you have to put things in place to protect those people like the Hargroves, I'm good with that. Because there's other ways, but that will be 20, you won't be in office, I won't be around, it'll be 20 years from now, you know? I mean, honestly, it may never become an issue.
Digging me, or you just saying because of the 20 years?
I'm just saying, I doubt it will become an issue.
It's all good. It's all good.
So I'm asking you, you know, to do the right thing. Let's make sure that we protect the citizens as a whole, not just a few landowners and individuals to have their back pockets in mind. But,
And I can tell you right now that we've had this conversation, we've listened to y'all. We've made 2 motions right now to get rid of 2 options. I'm sorry. Sorry about that. We're listening to y'all. We're sort of trying to eat a piece of the pie as we go along here. So we've done 2 motions so far right now to do away with 2 different routes. Okay? And both routes have to do with that piece of property that's on the screen right now. I was handed a note right now that if Commissioner Wardlaw make a motion, and I just reached over and told him if he'll wait a little bit to check and see if there's any more comments, before we move forward. I do think that, we pick a route, and at some point, we're probably gonna have to come back and pick an alternate route. But we can pick a route, and move forward. You know,
well, thank y'all. To answer that gentleman's
Come on
question
up.
over here, those trucks, traffic is about 200 or less per day.
come on up. Sir, if you'll just state your name, please, first, and then,
My name's Bill Kingsbury.
thank you, sir.
Live in Rancho Agua Vista. Has nothing to do with this, what I'm gonna talk about. I grew up on a ranch in Texas, and, I suddenly developed into a elevator superintendent in San Antonio, Texas, and had all of South Texas, including Corpus Christi and Laredo, in my jurisdiction. And that was about 1987, and NAFTA moved into Laredo along about that same time. And they built a loop around Laredo called Loop 20, and they had an international bridge right at the end of it. And I'm stumbling along, and I retire, and there, you can't imagine, if you haven't been to Laredo, you can't imagine the growth that's been there. We're no Nuevo Laredo. We're no Ciudad Acuña. I mean, Ciudad Acuña is no Nuevo Laredo. Del Rio is no Laredo. But there was about 75,000 people when I started going down there in Laredo. Now there's about 250,000 people there. So they went out north of town and built the bridge. And it was all ranch land out there. I promise you, there is not one nice subdivision out there. And what they did, they went out and they did it on a ranch. Somebody out there owned a big ranch, and they bought the ranch from them, or whatever happens, you know, and they built this first bridge. Then they go out about 15 miles, I guess you'd call it north northwest of there, right on the river, and they built another bridge. They connected with the Camino something road that comes into 35. It was a toll road at first. And it doesn't get near as much traffic as the first one did. But there are just I can't say thousands, but I could say there's thousands of trucks there now, thousands upon thousands of trucks, and hundreds and many thousands of warehouses. And it's all due to those bridges being out there. It's no traffic, it's no people traffic. The reason I know about this is because I became an inspector in 2010 after I retired from the elevator business. And I'm an elevator inspector now. And I inspected the elevators out there on those two bridges for many years. And you cannot imagine the growth that could come from it. And I think that going through this residential area where people have bought and paid a lot of money for their houses is a sad, short-sighted mistake for what needs to be a long-term solution. And it's a short-term solution. It's not a long-term one. And I think that needs to be considered completely. I was stumbling through one of the IBC banks that are due down there. I guess it was 2 or 3 years ago. And they got 4 or 5 signs up in the lobby, and I'm waiting on the guy to get there, the elevator mechanic to get there, because I got to do the test with him. And I'm reading the signs, and it was astounding to me. 14,000 trucks a month come across in Laredo. And they come across those 2 bridges mainly. Very few of them go downtown anymore to the number 1 or number 2 bridge. 14,000. So you can imagine how many trucks and warehouses are out on the north, I guess you call it the northwest side of Laredo. And if you're trying to make a decision what to do here, you need to go to Laredo and look and see what they did, because they made a long-term decision, not a short-sighted one. And that's all I got to say. Okay?
Before you finish, will you please say exactly where your pink line is going south? Is it going to come out at the existing bridge, or is it going to go south and come in? Everybody on the mic.
Hello? Okay. The pink line that's there, will have to be, if that's the way the court wants to go, it will have to be drawn a little bit different, because on the Mexican side, it goes through a bunch of houses. All right, so, just wait a minute. And y'all, real quick, when I say redrawn, it'll need to be moved a little bit this way, away from the rest of the subdivision. Okay, did y'all hear me? No? I'm looking at her because she's the one that keeps making faces. You've got a subdivision here, so this road right here will need to be moved back this way a little bit. And it also, and the way it is right now, when we had looked at it, we looked at it in December. We picked a spot in South Del Rio that would, the bridge, hold on 1 minute. We picked a spot in South Del Rio when we looked at it that the bridge would actually, the cost of the bridge would be the same for us as for the people on the Mexican side, because where the bridge is going now, 80% of the cost of the bridge is on the American side. Okay, so the bridge that is being picked right now, or the bridge that the city looked at, you start over railroad tracks, on Nixon's property, go across the Vega, and again, 80% of the bridge structure is American. So when we looked at it in December, we tried to pick a spot further down over here to where it would be more balanced versus 80-20, more 50-50 or 60-40. So that line will need to be moved further back down. The only thing, and I think both of them, y'all enjoyed that shit, didn't you? The only thing I think I got both of them wanting to make motions because you've already been huffing. So I think there's going to be a motion here in a minute, and we'll figure out who's going to make the motion to move it to South Del Rio. We will need to fight and have meetings like what we're having right now, not to have a connection between the bridge in South Del Rio going to Industrial Park. Okay? People coming back in like we do now, complaining about the South Del Rio. Complaining about the South Del Rio route. And those are going to be our people, not Mexicans, okay? So, I think if we're going to move this thing, we need to do the same protection for everybody. Everybody needs to be the same, all right? And treat everybody the same. If we're going to... Sir, I can't hear you. No. It comes out on SL 79. This route right here, the one that is being presented right now, comes out where SL 79 and 277 intersect. Basically, if you'll come just straight across, and then this land right here will have to be moved to where we end up paying the same amount or less for the bridge than on the Mexican side versus the north part of town, okay? You're looking. Well, again, your comments a little while ago, and I'm gonna go ahead and be real honest, the comments that you made a little while ago about the industrial park and stuff like that, that shit's off the table. So there'd be no industrial park on that 800 acres. So you just stayed up there and started talking. So I'm gonna let other people talk. I'm gonna let other people talk, okay? If you don't mind, come up, and then we'll listen to you speak.
People are asking questions, maybe right in faith. Are you saying that put the bridge right there where the wire is, off of 29?
This is SL 79.
Yes, down in Mexico.
Down here, yes, sir.
The bridge would be, what would come off the wire?
Well, and I think what we're gonna do first, is send a letter to the city of Del Rio. And that'll probably be part of the motion right now, that the county is instructing the county judge and the attorneys to send a letter to the city of Del Rio, telling them that we've heard citizens' comments, and that at this point, we believe that if there's consideration for a bridge, that it be built off of SL 79 and take that route going through the Moody towards Mexico.
Yeah, we were just trying to figure out how further south you have to go from Mississippi.
Not much. And all that's gonna depend.
That's why I was kind of looking at
Yeah.
the yellow line. down
No, it would connect, SL 79 is where you would start on our side and then go to the bridge. The only thing is though that we need to pick a spot to where the cost, we're not paying for all the cost.
That's like where the next
Yeah.
would come off the wire.
I don't know. We're gonna have to look and check and see where the boundary is, the United States and Mexican boundary are. That way we can come up with a cost that is, yeah. Does anybody else have anything to say? Okay.
$14,000 a month, it was not a month.
Is a day.
One day or
Yeah,
one week.
I get it. Mhm. And again, the conversation that you just had up here, I think we've already decided, the court's already decided not to put, I'm not saying not to put it, but to send a suggestion, a letter to the city, that we have met and the court has taken these off the table, and that we would like consideration to put the bridge on the south side, and that we would be okay with it as long as there's no connecting route from the bridge to Industrial Park. Okay? And I think between the court right now, yes. Okay.
Judge, I'd like to say something before he starts. When we get ready to do the motion, out of courtesy, I would like for Commissioner Wardlaw to make that motion, since the south route will fall in his precinct.
That's it. He already wrote me a note. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
The question that was just made is, when would the annexation occur? And I have more.
I can tell you that's a question that we will not be able to answer. All right? I will tell you that we can send a letter to the city depending on what the court decides to do right now. We'll get that letter out, get our attorneys to look at it. Today's Wednesday. If it's not out by Friday, it'll be out by Monday. We will send them a letter, and the annexation won't be us. Okay? There's a process that it'll take. If that begins to move forward, then we will probably call a special called meeting so we can have all of y'all back to let y'all know what we're doing. You know, we take a lot of heat as a court because we listen to y'all, all right? But that is our job. So we will call another meeting once that, if it begins to happen, to let y'all know what we know, and then y'all can voice your concerns, all right?
I'd just like to note, too, that the petition also includes city members,
Okay.
not just the county.
Yeah, and what I would do, you know, y'all asked a little while ago what to do. I would, I would seriously, bring it to us, a copy, that way we know what's going on. And then, y'all really need, go ahead. Y'all really need to, visit with the city. And I would ask to have a meeting, with city council. You know, that way they can all hear it. It's just a lot easier to call something like this. That way you're not getting bits and pieces. And then, you know, one of us is not here and we heard something or didn't hear something. We got to watch the video. It's just a lot easier to call a meeting and get y'all to come out. All right. So I would ask for a meeting. All right. And then, is that it? Well, I know that's not it. You got more, but it can, you know.
It's really encouraging to hear, you know, that our county is hearing us, and, you know, I would say if we're concerned about what the city does, then that's a future problem. But right now, you know, the decision is here. And so, my petition, personally, is for us to show a strong standing with the folks who are here, and the city was invited to this meeting. But to show our current stance on where we stand, and I think we're getting there, but I just wanted to put you in mind of these. Let the city do what the city is going to do. We can't control them. You are the county entity, so if we can, let's hold strong here. And I would say, personally, if it was me sitting near the seats, I would ask for you, that hard stance would look like to me, saying a hard no to any north side option, because that is not good for our constituents. And the south side option, with plenty of south real estate, so it doesn't affect folks whose homes that is. There's so much south real estate.
And again, you know, I can tell y'all though that we'll write a letter, send it forward, but at some point, we might get it handed to us and tell us where to go, and we'll worry about that when we get there. Yes, ma'am. And if you don't mind, Caitlin, can you come up front, please? Y'all didn't bring the tar and feathers with you, right? Bring it down, bring it down. Just tilt the mic. There we go.
My name is Caitlin Herda. I'll just yell at y'all. Here's my collar. I guess the question that we all need answered is because the city has said, well, they'll let us annex their property, why would we agree to go south when we're gonna have to probably buy the property for a right-of-way or another? If they know that it is going to displace people, it's going to destroy property values, it's gonna make an unsafe environment for children and families, will you guys, or do you have the capacity, which I expect that you do, will y'all go to bat for us when they say, to hell with your plan, we don't like it, it doesn't benefit us, it doesn't benefit the correct people? At what point is it racketeering? At what point can you guys stand up and say, no, we're going to fight back?
Caitlin, we will do everything in our powers, once this court makes the decision which way we're running, to move forward with that decision. If they take off and go another route, then at that point, we'll have to make a decision to argue our point.
And y'all,
Okay.
to argue your point, but do you have the legal capabilities to argue that?
We
To fight them
have,
legally?
I can tell you that in January, when we came back in January, we actually had a conversation about setting aside funds to move forward with legal action. At that point, the court voted 5-0 to send a letter that we did not accept the routes that they were doing, but they went away. The city went away. Nothing happened. They just quit. But they didn't. They continued to look at this other route, and at that point is why we're here today. So yes, ma'am, we will do everything in our power to move forward with the route that we will present.
Thank you.
Okay?
The only thing I have to add, because I believe that it is important, is for the city to know that all of us know, and we are going to get the word out to every city member, and you should report it, the connection to the Frontera, the person they hired for the city, and the people that own that land. Because that is a huge connection, and they need to know that we know, and we're going to tell everybody who listens.
I'm not going to throw rocks at them like that. I think our deal is going to be the letter. We move forward with that. Y'all have already made a statement. He made a statement right now about it. This thing will be on YouTube as soon as we can put it on. So, and I guarantee you that they already know what's been said here. All right? But it is what it is. I'm not a great fan of apologies. You say it and then you just move on, But we will wait. If there's no other comments, if y'all don't mind, I'd like to entertain a motion by one of the one of the commissioners, and again, he's already written a note, so if y'all don't mind, I'd like to entertain a motion, and then we'll take a vote, and we'll move on, if y'all are okay with that. Y'all okay?
Okay with
that? Commissioner Wardlaw.
Like the judge said, we have been listening, and we've heard what you have to say. And we're with you. And I'd like to make a motion that the southern route be accepted with access along the Vega.
I'll make a second for that. Could we, I have a motion, Commissioner Wardlaw, I have a second, Commissioner Flores. Could we just leave the access off for now?
Yes, sir.
Would you amend your motion?
I'll amend the motion, but that will come up later where we can.
It will, and I think we can have that battle once we have that battle.
Yes.
I'll second it. All right, motion, we okay with that, David? I have a motion to pick the southern route. The southern route will be adjusted a little bit, so the balance is between, United States and Mexico as far as cost. And, I have a motion. I'm going to call one by one for a vote. Commissioner Wardlaw, how do you vote?
Yes.
Commissioner Vasquez, how do you vote?
Yes.
Commissioner Nettleton?
Yes.
Commissioner Flores?
Yes.
And I vote yes. The motion passes 5-0. I will tell you all that we probably got a battle coming, and she just asked we're up to it, sort of, or I guess you did ask if we're up to it, we're up to it. Again, I wanna thank y'all for coming. Again, we're here to listen to y'all. I hope this helps. I hope this helps everybody. At some point, we're probably gonna have to make a decision on that other route, but I'd rather sort of just leave that one alone. If we're gonna have to wait for the city to respond. Okay, and at that point, then we'll move forward with something else, all right? Again, thank y'all for coming. Y'all have a good night. Meeting adjourned.